Jeremiah chapter 30 and verse 7. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Before I go any further, all praise is to Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Wa Rakakodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the hopeful elect throughout the four corners of this whole entire earth, no matter where, whom they may be or what they may look like. To the rest of the church who believe as well, including you women. To the dead in Yahweh Shai also. And the water to Yahweh Shai, because without him enduring and going to that cross for the nation of Israel, none of this would even be possible whatsoever. So we understand that we're coming into a very dark time. A very, maybe the word I should use is sinister. A very bitter period. And we understand, when we talk about these things, how it can weigh down on the mind sometimes. I'm going to read this verse again in Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. At last, for that day is great. So it's going to be a time of great evil. And if you look at our society, you got the LGBTQ, you got the Black Lives Matter, BLM, and really they're just set up to promote pedophilia. They're just set up to basically disregard the scriptures and create a whole new law on the earth. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to break up families. So you're already seeing the time that we're coming into. But ultimately, it's the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai that's allowing these things to happen. Now, seeing how a very dark time is right around the corner, seeing, the times are already dark. Don't get me wrong. But when Esau rolls down on the world, particularly our people, it is not going to be like any other time in history. Okay? Even going back to the time of the Roman invasion of 67 through 70 AD. Around that period, this time coming is going to be worse than that. It's going to be worse than when Cristobal Colon was commissioned to come over here. And you got a whole bunch of ships right along with him. And here they come to conquer some of the northern tribes. It's going to be worse than that. It's going to be worse than when, the Negro was sent over here in slave ships, not just from Africa, okay, even out of Europe. The first slave ships that were sent over here as Negro slaves, they were actually from Europe, showing you, we're not so-called African. You had us all throughout the earth. But no period in history is going to be worse than what's coming, because now technology is on a whole new level. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai is allowing Esau to have fun with his toys one last time before he snatches them away. Okay? But knowing these things, we have to be confident in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. At last, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. And it says Jacob's trouble, not as in no other nation is going to face this, but it's showing you deep down, Esau's really about to come down with this new world order, because he wants to get rid of Israel. He wants to captivate the nation of Israel again, and this time be more as gods, because now they have technology. They want to merge man with machine, through transhumanism. Ultimately, that's why they're trying to push that chip. Okay? But he shall be saved out of it. That's speaking of the elect of the nation of Israel. Men, women, and children. It's not just going to be men that are going to be delivered. It's going to be men, women, and children that are to be delivered. All right? Let's go to the book of Psalms chapter 56 In verse 3, what time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. So whenever we feel any sense of fear or afraid, you got to cast those thoughts away by trusting in the Lord and understanding that our power is greater than any other force in all existence. Okay? Our power is the power of all beings, man. In terms of he reigns supreme over all. What time I am afraid, I will trust in thee. In Yahweh I will praise his word. In Yahweh I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. So we understand that during the time of Jacob's trouble, a lot of Israelites are going to get caught up in the clutches of Esau. And they're going to try to harm the flesh of people to try to persuade them to take that chip or to just show their hatred, just being demons that they are. We understand it's going to be dark. But you have to put your trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Because ultimately, it's up to him who falls into the hands of Esau. And then once they're in the hands of Esau, what their fate is. And if our fate has to be death, it doesn't matter because there's no losing. If you're of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, you win. If you get put to death as a martyr, you won. If you endure till the end in the sense of making it to the chariots, you won. We don't lose if we are of the elect. You have to have confidence that the Lord is with you. Okay? And it's easier said than done, of course. But that's why this is a fight. Your biggest opponent is you. You have to pretty much wrestle yourself, man. And it's not an easy fight. Verse 11. In Yahweh have I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. So understand, you need to put your faith in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Don't fear what man can do unto you. Because if you be of the Lord's elect, man, woman, or child, you're protected. You're okay. Okay? And ultimately, above all, this judgment coming is really for the world. It's not for the elect, although the elect will be in the midst of it. Psalms 34 and verse 4. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. I'm going to read that again. That was a little choppy. I sought the Lord, and he heard me and delivered me from all my fears. And that's what the Lord's going to do for all his elect. When we call unto the Lord, he hears us. So why would it be any different during the time of Jacob's trouble? Because it said he shall be saved out of it. That's speaking of those who depend on him, who fear him. Those who depend on him. Okay? He's going to hear you. He's going to deliver you. And even when it seems like he's not coming fast enough, he always comes right on time. Always. That's just how Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai works. We can't allow this flesh to overcome our thoughts to where it makes us weak, because as the scriptures say, the spirit is willing but the flesh is weak. It's the flesh that gives you that sense of being fearful of what man can do to your flesh, because you think of the pain and the agony that may come from it. But you know our power, who's greater, they could numb pain. They could make it to where if one of their men have to be martyred, they don't even feel it. Okay? This is the last go round, man. The kingdom of heaven is next. Imagine going back to the time of the 12 and they were wondering, when would be the sign and knowing, when the kingdom of heaven is going to come, basically. And it wasn't for them to know. And it wasn't the season at that time. But now that we're in the season, you got to imagine, like, no matter what, the kingdom of heaven is right there. There is no, coming back in the incarnation back into Babylon. And then happen to go through another bitter life of this hell. And then by that time you come back, imagine this. Because reincarnation's in the scripture. I know I'm going off a little bit. But there's a point. Now, we live in Babylon. So if we had to come back in the reincarnation in this society, bestiality would be legal. Pedophilia would be legal. Murder would be legal. You just got to imagine the New World Order would still be here. The chip would be here. Everybody would be chipped. All right. You'd have curfew. This is it. The kingdom of heaven is right around the corner. There ain't no coming back in the reincarnation enslaved under Babylon. So now we're in a time where the Lord is going to show us that he's going to deliver us. This is that time, man. All right. Isaiah 40:29. He giveth power to the faint, and we're faint. We're faint from different various things. It might be work. It might just be your thoughts. It might be your woman. It might be your children. It may just be just day to day, just whatever happens. But he gives power to the faint. He gives power to the elect. He even gives power to 2/3 to where they get through their day and they wake up and have food and all that. Okay? He even clothes wicked people. But more so, he is looking after his elect. Men, women, and children. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. Man, there be so many weeks. I get through the work week, and I always say this, man, like, dang, I don't know how I got through this week. But ultimately, I know how. It was through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. You know, feeling worn out, feeling faint, feeling used up. And somehow I got through the week, and then, you know, I get my little time off, my little couple days off, then right back to it. And it's like, oh, man, I don't know how I'm going to get through the week. Then by the end of the week, I'm asking, how did I get through the week? You know, but that's the spirit. He gives us power, man. And to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. And we don't have no might. All right, but he's increasing our strength through the spirit. That's why, you know, our people are waking up. And it's through our people waking up, the kingdom of heaven is going to come. Okay? Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young man shall utterly fall. And that's happening right now. You got men still in their prime having back problems. Men still in their prime having knee problems. You know, asthma. Can't even run because you might drop dead from an asthma attack. Can't run for long distances. Okay? And these are young men. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. And that's what it's about, waiting on Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary, and they shall walk and not faint. So ultimately, we're going to have our bodies changed. And Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai is going to give us those spiritual powers. So whatever fears that we have, it's just being in these bodies. That's why the Lord has to change us. He's going to take away all of our fears permanently once we leave these bodies. So really, you know, whatever man can do unto us doesn't matter, because once we leave these bodies, there's no more pain. All right? And this is the reason why most people feel fear. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 17 and verse 12. For fear is nothing else but a betraying of the succors which reason offereth. So when you feel like you don't have any help, when you feel like there's just no way to get out of a situation because you're all alone, you're solo dolo, so to speak, that's really where the sense of fear comes from. Just like if, you know, not all brothers are into it, but if you're watching a scary movie, so to speak, or a horror film, your woman or whoever you're watching it with, it would be more of a comfortable situation because there's somebody with you. Now, you take that same situation and you might be by yourself, or that person may be by themselves. It may not feel as comfortable because now you have the fear of just being alone. When you're betrayed, it's almost like you're alone, you know, but we have Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. So ultimately we should not be afraid. All right. Like when I had went out to teach last time, I don't know where my mind went, but I had left my tablet. I drove all the way home, and I called up the brother, let him know, hey, I left the tablet. He was like, oh, I'll turn back. And I was like, okay, I'm doing the same thing. We'll see who gets there first or whatnot. The brother got there about 2 minutes before I did, and when he got there, the tablet was still there. But in my mind, what kept running through my thoughts was, the Lord controls the thought of man. He controls man's steps. So really, it's up to the Lord if my tablet was still there. But having my faith in the Lord kept my fear of my tablet not being there out of my thoughts. Of course, Satan would try to place it there, but it was still just a thought of knowing, having my trust in the Lord, it can still work out well for me. Okay, so when you fear something, it's really just a sense of being alone. Wisdom of Solomon 17:12. For fear is nothing else but betraying of the succors which reason offereth. And I'm going to leave off in the book of Psalms, chapter 63 and verse 7. Because thou hast been my help, therefore in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. So we understand that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is our help. So if you have to face a guillotine, or you have to get thrown in a concentration camp, or you're in the middle of nowhere trying to figure out how you're going to eat, you might be with your children, you're trying to figure out how you're going to keep them safe. You might just be alone. However it works out, however it plays out, you have to put your confidence in the Lord. That's why we make these videos, to feed our spirit. And if you don't feed your spirit, it's the same way as not feeding your body. What happens? You starve it out. You got to have nutrients so you can have the energy to run, jump, and everything else that you need to do spiritually. So in the spirit, if you're weak, okay, pray more, get involved more in terms of like really abide to what the words are saying. Like, try to really apply it to the best that you can. Okay, the scriptures talk about not being over righteous as well. All right, but at the end of the day, man, we have Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai behind us, no matter what we have to face. So verse 7 again, because thou hast been mine help. And fear really just comes from feeling like you have no help. Because thou hast been my help, therefore in the shadow of thy wings will I rejoice. All right. And Lord willing, we can get delivered up in them chariots, man. That's the ultimate deliverance. That's the ultimate form of safety. That's the ultimate safe haven, is to make it to the end. Whether, we are martyred and our spirit leaves our bodies, or we're beamed up in them chariots and our bodies are changed. Either way it goes, there's no losing, man. If the Lord's with you, the Lord's with you, and no one can take that from you. No one. All right. So, Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. And till my next lesson, Lord willing, Shalom.